than in weeks prior. Silas is available.
He is available, has been traditionally run into the Ergot. We saw that twice yesterday, and good old Papa Smithy, the daddy of Korean League of Legends, was saying that Silas is actually picked to run into Ergot specifically. Good lane matchup. Froscorin also talked a little bit about that, about how it's hard for you to get executed because you've got that good self-sustain. And a very nice ultimate to steal, but obviously Ergot off the board today, so we'll see whether that limits Silas's playability. But even right away, Alessandro, if you want to steal that, that's not a bad one to take either.
Definitely quite an impactful ultimate to have on your side. There's the Callista. We saw Patrick bring that out just last week. That was one of the games that they won, actually. Last week, I think it's their second game of the week. Alongside that, you usually look at things like Alistair, Thresh to team up in that bottom lane. Morgana can work out pretty well with it as well.
You want a support that you can just throw in there so that you have good synergy with your ulti. And if you're Schalke looking at this draft, the best early game AD carries are off the board here in Draven and Lucian, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Kai'Sa being picked up by Upset. He also loves the Ezreal, so one of those two champions, if they don't pick it in this phase right here, is almost guaranteed to be the two bans from Origen, I would imagine. So I'm expecting to see the Kai'Sa or the Ezreal coming through here. I think both of those champs are good into the Callista and Alistair as well.
Right. I have to see if Upset does put his priority on towards that Ezreal. Has only played the Ezreal and the Kai'Sa so far this split, so anything else would be an aberration from the norm.
Could be the Ez Tahm Kench as well. Like, just keep. I mean, Ez doesn't really need that protection as much, so that's why you're. Well, I just don't want to say anything until this, because I really want this to be low to the game.
About whatever else you want to talk about.
Ez Tahm Kench is one of those really powerful duos, and it's very good against heavy engage, and you know, you got Alistair right there, so I think if we were to see that, that would not be a bad choice. As it stands.
Not going to see the Blitzcrank just quite yet. Camille, instead, the lock-in for Memento, teamed up with something like the Sandra, who can dive that backline. So incredibly powerful. And you can lock up the Callista a little bit as well, because if you put her in the box, she can't then jump out of it.
Absolutely, and this is now dependent on the rest of Origin's draft to try and protect that Callista from the Camille. This is patch 9.2, not 9.3, which is live, or you'll be playing at home. Callista is still a decent jungler. The verdict is still out whether or not she's a good jungler in the next patch, because she did receive a nerf. Yeah. Did I say Callista?
You did say Callista.
I did not mean Callista.
I assumed you meant
Camille. But yeah, Camille, really good. Memento really enjoys playing this champion as well. Great early game pressure too. Going to be answered with that Sejuani for Cold.
I like the Sejuani pick. I think it gives you a relatively beefy front line alongside the Alistair, and then the pick potential from a Callista ultimate into a Glacial Prison as well coming out from the Sejuani does work out pretty well.
It's really versatile is what I like about it. You know, you can play it as a initiator and slide into these offensive team cons, but you can also play it as more of like a protector style champion. So I think it is a good jungler just to pick up if a one size fits all kind of guy. Go. Bristol's probably a boy.
Oh, you don't know?
That's what I was talking about.
I have no idea. Either way, I was not a vet.
No, you're a doctor, not a vet.
Can't identify the boar's gender, I'm afraid. Gragas is the lock away here from Origen towards Ignar. Gragas, of course, a good matchup into the Alistair in that bottom lane. There's the Syndra ban against Nuke Duck as well. Morgana banned against Ignar. And now, I wonder where Schalke will go with this next ban, because you're looking at that mid lane pool and thinking, what's good into Lissandra? What do I want to pinch away?
Yeah, so this is one of those situations where LeBlanc often gets banned here, but you will not see that because Lissandra is so good into LeBlanc that if Origen picked it, it would be... I mean, Nuke Duck is Nuke Duck, right? He just plays what he wants to play. But you probably won't see it this time around, so Zoe instead is going to be the one taken away. For me, as far as Schalke is concerned, this raises the priority here of the Tahm Kench and the value of that champion being still left up on the board. We might get that blind pick cannon here. It is going to be a blind cannon. Okay, so... both solo lanes are still available here for Origen, so if they want to flex cannon, they can. But traditionally, we usually see that in the top side of the map.
Yeah, don't really see cannon mid that much anymore. I would like the rise here from Odoamne. He has played that already. The split, assuming that Lissandra's going to go towards the mid lane. You have quite a bit of attack damage, physical damage in the form of the Ezreal and the Camille as well. So don't have to worry too much about balancing out the damage across the team.
Yeah, but this does mean that the top side of the map is going to be very heavy scaling. And to be honest, even in the bot side when you have Ez, he's looking to get that kind of 2 items before he does something. And the new Ez is pretty good at scaling late game as well with the change to his W. And especially if you go for like that double tier build, when you have the Seraphs and then chucking a Gunblade in there as well. So we might actually see, as we were talking about before the draft went in, how Origen can win this game. if they can, they have good early game tools with the Kalista, with that Sejuani. Once they get to that level 6, if they want to start punishing Schalke on the map, then this is a good team comp to do it to.
Oh,
the Yasuo.
Bring out the Yasuo as well to round out that composition. So a lot of early damage there. And Yasuo, of course, looking for those 2 items. Phantom Dancer IE is what we tend to see from him. I was very intrigued by the Pike pick as well from Ignar. We were talking about how the Tarm Kench would have been very strong for them, but instead going for something a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, they're just, there were 2 roads to walk down there. Either you want to go the more protective route against the Alistar and good synergy with the Ez in the Tarm Kench or something like that, or I personally prefer this because I think Ignar right now is performing right at the top of the supports. Like, I think he's one of the best supports in the EU, and he's really good on these aggressive playmaking champions. Yesterday he played that Blitzcrank, and Pike has similar mechanics to a Blitz, where you're kind of grabbing people and you're going for that aggressive play style. So we'll see whether Ignar, great success yesterday, whether he can do it again this week.
I think the mentality behind Pike and Blitz is very similar. You're trying to anticipate dodges, you're looking to see if you can land those hooks, as you say, and then trying to catch people out of position. I want to talk a little bit about compositional strengths. We talked about level 6 coming out from Origen, the power that they have when they hit that mark and how they want to play around the early game. Schalke, a little bit more scaling, but are Schalke going to be able to mitigate that early game weakness?
Well, that's why you pick the Camille, and this is what I think is really important if you're going to have scaling in your lanes, is you want to have a strong early jungler, because then you want to at least be able to have someone who's able to stabilize on the map. We have seen some team comps in the past where if you don't have that early jungle strength and you have losing lanes, you kind of just roll over and die in the current meta, and you absolutely don't want to do that because that loses you League of Legends games, which surprisingly isn't good. So this Camille, he can basically go anywhere. Like, it's if he wants to gank that Rise with the Rune Prison setup, that you can go mid lane with setup there, you can go bot lane with the Pike setup. So there's different things that that Memento can do, and we did talk about scaling being important, but it's not like Schalke are like just completely awful until 30 minutes.
They still have some power in the early game. You talk a lot about how Memento's there to kind of mitigate the weakness in the early game from Schalke. What are we looking at Cold to do then? How is he going to actually be able to utilize his team's early strength?
Well, early on, you just want to make sure that Camille isn't like level 2 taking over the game. So we'll see that a lot of that in the vision and the pathing from Cold, where he decides to start. Because in the actual 1v1, Sejuani isn't really that bad this early. Camille isn't known necessarily to just run at the enemy jungler and just completely take them down. There are some champions like that in the current meta that Sejuani absolutely will want to avoid, like the Zinzaos, the Kazakhs. But Camille isn't really one of those. So Cold, if he can spot out Memento, get to that level 6 point, then he will have that advantage. And then, once we reach that point, you can look for like first glacial prison on the map to be really impactful. And again, this is what's so cool about this game, is you're not limited to where you can go. You can go anywhere you want in this game.
Any map, any lane is gankable. We talked a lot about Analyst Desk talked a lot about the top lane matchup. Oduwamne, who's had a very good start to the split against Alfari, who kind of struggled, but definitely had a stronger performance yesterday. And I think your eyes have to go up there, right? You're playing a Rise into Kennen matchup. It feels like it should be explosive. There's a lot of lightning going on up there as well, some spaghetti being thrown. I really want some action to happen on the top side of the map, mostly because I just like action happening anyway. Amazing blows a kiss to the fans. I feel it was directed at me.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've been able to talk with Amazing.
I overheard him say that was deliberately aimed at you.
Thank you, Mr. Schnuckensteiler. Let's get into the game. Schalke versus Origen, first game of the day. And it's going to be a doozy. Schalke sitting pretty at the top of the standings, just 1 win behind G2.
6-1 is not too shabby considering they imploded their roster in the off-season, upset the only returning member from last year's Schalke, which, honestly, even though they didn't go to Worlds, had a lot of success. They made the summer finals. They there's definitely big shoes for them to fill, and so far they're absolutely filling them. As we're getting this level 1 Alfari here, scouting out that tribe of Schalke, they have a plan. They know what's up here.
Ignar has the hook, so he's waiting in the Baron pit. Looking for it. Bone Skewer comes out, pulls Alfari back. Avadaja gets the slow. Memento jumps in, but Alfari flashes away. And it's a good escape from Alfari, but incredible level 1 mindfulness from Schalke.
And that is the flash down from Kennen, which is very important when you're playing versus Camille. You want to have that flash because those early ganks, very, very powerful, very, very impactful. So gonna have to be careful. That was great. Did you see that water energy? They went down at exactly the same time. Frame perfect. Oof. It's not bad.
Yeah, as long as you're not doing it with your teammates. That's also what I always have happening in bot lane.
But 2 wards equals a pink ward, did you know
is that how it works?
Yeah.
I didn't
mean,
realize.
theoretically, in practice it doesn't.
No.
Very theoretically it doesn't either, but you know, we can say these things to make ourselves feel better about them.
That's true. And my warding is so bad that I need to make myself feel better about it. I want to talk a little bit about lane priority and pushing lanes, because often when we discuss scaling, you tend to think that that lane's going to get pushed back and actually the enemy jungler is going to be able to invade. But looking at it, Abaddage should be able to push up the mid lane. Top lane should be pretty much in Oda1's favor now that that flash is burnt as well.
Yeah, honestly, the only lane that Schalke shouldn't be pushing that hard in is the bot lane. Because Pyke and Ez, especially early on before Ez gets that tier, and with Pyke being a melee champion, the only real threat that he has at this point is the threat to kill someone. And that's not to say that that is a limited threat, it's just that you're not going to be mindlessly pushing the minion wave down. And Origen already giving a lot of respect over to Schalke in these lanes, and we'll see whether the presence of Cold will be able to turn these ones around. And you know, you really do want to have a Kalista be able to use this early game and to translate it into something in the mid, because she isn't as good at scaling. She's not going to be as good going into the late game as Ezreal pick will be.
And you see how important it is to keep track of the enemy junglers. Ignite actually leaving the lane, coming up here, checking both the blue and the Gromp to find exact timers on where Cold is likely to be on the map. They sacrifice a little bit of pressure in the lane, but Ignite comes back. And Ezreal is such a safe AD carry that you can do this pretty easily as a support.
And Upset is probably the best Ezreal in the LEC.
Yep.
It feels like he gets this champion a lot, considering just how good he is on it, and how Ez is arguably just one of the best AD carries just from a pure strength standpoint. So it's like you got a strong pick on someone who really knows how to play it, and you know you're gonna have a situation where, surprise, surprise, he's gonna perform well on it. So there is something while we go into a cheeky little pause here.
Yeah, we just need to adjust the lights. I believe there's some glare on someone's screen, so we'll get that sorted out in just a second for these guys.
One of those lights are getting looked at. How about we take a look at more of this bot lane, specifically the summoner spells?
Yeah, I really wanted to bring attention to this, actually, because there's Teleport on Ezreal, both supports playing Ignite, but you've got the heal on the Kalista, so a slight disparity there. Slight
disparity, and it means that if any all-ins happen, the advantage 100% over to Origen. However, if the all-in doesn't actually happen, you're much more likely to be able to have lane control, because you can get more favorable recalls and resets if you have that teleport, and you can utilize that teleport, and you can, you know, just push a wave out, go back to base, buy your tier early, for example, and then get straight back into lane and not skip a beat.
That's the big thing with Ezreal, isn't it? You want the back timing either for the Sheen or for the tier, and then you can really take control of the lane, get scaling up, really just have a dominant laning phase, considering the fact that he is not the strongest early game champion in the game. But we are back on into the action, lights adjusted, everything sorted for these guys.
Does need a little bit of revving up as we're watching these guys. Origen playing under their tower currently here, which is not really where they want to be. But a lot of it, honestly, is, at least at this stage of the game, a lot of it just comes down to Mythy, and if you can catch a cheeky little headbutt pulverize, or nope, that's not the one. Yeah, it is the one.
Yeah, you're right.
That's weird. But outside of that, I really just think level 6 is going to be the point where real things happen, because then you do have the Kalista set up, you do have the Sejuani if Cold Ones will come down as well. And before then, we might just see a little bit more of a kind of timid lane phase.
It's always hard to headbutt Pulverizer into a Pyke as well, because he has the Bone Skewer that will pull you out of it, and if you go too far in, he then uses his E, goes water dive, jumps away, and just gets the Phantom Undertow, and then gets the stun on you. So can be quite difficult to play that lane as an Alistar early on. In the top lane, actually evened out quite a bit. Alphari hasn't really been punished for losing his flash in the early game. It's about a 4-5 CS differential, but nothing too major. Interestingly, Alphari not running the Kleptomancy himself. Looks like Memento's going towards the mid lane for the first gank of the game. Nukeduck goes in, Abaddage locks him up, there's the cleanse, but Memento is here. Nukeduck just dodging through them, gets the knock up with a tornado. Should be able to get away. Good escape there from Nukeduck, only burns the cleanse.
Only burns the cleanse, which does have a pretty low cooldown, so not too bad there from Norwegian mid laner. Able to kind of get away with that one, you have to think, considering he had no one around him to help him, and just generally walks away from the gank, so good start for Origen.
If I were trading a little bit on towards Oda1 here, but nothing too much happening. We have seen Upset get that back time and teleported back into the lane now with a Sheen. Ignar coming up towards the mid lane because Cold has joined up with Nukeduck. And Ignar will spot Cold out here. Ping's coming out, teleport as well. Memento on his way across. Actually stops the back timer of Nukeduck. Cold jumps across, that's a Bone Skewer, pulls him back. Memento On his way down here, Phantom Undertow flashed away by Cold. And that is the Summoner spell burn, but once again, no one actually goes down.
Very important flash there by Cold. If he gets stunned, he will get comboed and he will most likely give away first blood. One of the mistakes that you see a lot in solo queue is people use their flash to escape danger rather than prevent danger, and that is the example of why exactly you want to use it to prevent the danger. But really all this comes down to is the fact that Upset and Ignar are not playing constantly under their tower, and they're able to have this lane pressure because that enables Ignar to leave the lane.
Cold's down here. Spotted on a ward, Mithy, looking for the knockup. Ignar there gets the stun onto Patrick, but now Cold is in the right place at the right time. Bone Skewer comes back out. Mithy looking for the stun. Memento has to flash away, and Patrick and Cold doing quite a lot of work on that Schalke bottom lane.
That is flash of Ignar, flash from Memento, 2 summoners apiece, but flash is arguably more important when you have the catch potential that Origen have.
That's what you're looking for now, right? You talked about the level 6, we're level 5 across the board, apart from Alfari and Nuke, so what we'll start to see is probably a back timer now, get that first part of an item, and then build up towards a repeat bottom lane gank onto Ignar, if you can get it.
And this time as well is quite important for Cole to show in that bot side, because Patrick really wants to recall. Because don't forget, the fact that he has heal and Upset has that teleport, Upset's already had a recall, he's already had a base, he's got that Sheen, which means that unless Patrick can get a good recall here, he's going to be playing at an item disadvantage, which obviously you don't want to do because that sets you behind. So they get that gank, which enables them to just push the minion wave in, get a good reset for Patrick, and he's bought his Berserker Greaves and a longsword, probably going into that Bedroom King.
Unable to quite find the connection there in the middle lane, but
Flash again.
Abadarje had to burn his flash, as you say, yeah, and this is good from Origen. The thing we wanted from them was early game pressure, try and play around the level 6, they're almost there, and if you can then accelerate the game from there, that's when you start looking at can Origen take down Schalke.
Well, this is it. Well, the next minute, 2 minutes is going to be really important, and Cold right now is kind of on the hot seat because there are 3 flashes down on Schalke, 2 of those coming from laners. And so Cold is now going to ask himself, all right, I need to capitalize on this. We've got to punish this. Schalke is a team that plays very intelligently, and they're extremely good going into the mid and late game. I believe Frosky even pegs them as the best team fighting team in Europe.
Yep.
So you don't really want to take it that late. So this is it. This is your window here. See if you can use those flashes. See if you can set up with your teammates. Don't forget Patrick now has hit that level 6. We're talking about that as well. And we might just see something going down soon.
No monumental gold lead between the two teams. Always interesting to point out, Upset on the Ezreal has Kleptomancy. It's about 200 gold ahead or so, which isn't absolutely massive, but it's still, you know, it's something in your back pocket. Every little helps.
Every little helps. And that's why you often see Cannon Top take their Kleptomancy as well. Not this game, but just Klepto in general. It's you sacrifice the strength of having a Keystone in order to get a little bit more gold in the lane phase.
And so Nuga's going to get a bit of damage onto Abadarge here. Cold is actually going to come across looking for that Glacial Prism, but the path comes out from Abadarge. And I want to just highlight the vision that Origen have started to establish for themselves. There's control ward in here, there's control ward in that pixel bush. If we bring it down, there's a control ward even further down as well. This is trying to open up that bottom side of the map for Cold. This is where he should be looking for ganks now.
Yep, and still that flash down on Ignar. So he kind of a slippery target because you do have Phantom Undertow?
Phantom Undertow, yeah.
Beautiful stuff. You do have that ability where it just slithers away from you and then it goes into stealth and gets that huge move speed increase. But it's very hard to run away from a Glacial Prison, a Pulverize,
yep.
The knockup from Callista. Like, it doesn't matter how slippery you are, if you get caught and you have no flash, you will fall down. And here he is. He's snaking his way into that bot lane.
Snaking it down there.
Ooh.
Memento here as well. Maybe Origen can go for something a little bit further, but they're not so far ahead that they can take a disadvantageous engage.
Right, but if they get the jump, then they will come out ahead. And if Memento is here, again, he has no flash either. He has his hookshot, so that is his way to disengage. But again, if you lock someone down, then he's not exactly the tankiest champion in the game, especially right now where he has 0 defensive items. Later on, we'll be picking up that Sterix most likely, and maybe the Guardian Angel, but in this early game, very vulnerable, and Origen not able to find themselves the kill, but they will translate this pressure that they're able to get themselves this vision advantage into an objective in that bot side in that cloud of dragon.
Schalke ceding any control over that bottom side river. The Cloud Dragon goes over to Origen. Not the dragon you really want, but a little bit of extra movement speed, especially when you're looking at an Alice to engage potential, does help out.
I think Cannon plus Cloud is really underrated combo, because you already have the Lightning Rush, and then you just have a little bit more move speed, and it all comes down to whether you can just get on top of a team and stay on top of a team with your ultimate down as Cannon. We kind of saw that actually yesterday when Werlib SK, he picked that Cannon and wasn't really able to find any great Cannon ultis, and a lot of that just comes down to if people get out of the ring, out of the maelstrom, then what you got?
Exactly.
Nothing. So Cloud helps with a little bit of that, and we'll see as well as the game goes on how Yasuo can utilize that against the Rise if they decide to match those two up against each other in that split push.
Pretty even across the board for these two teams. We said that we wanted to see a little bit more out of Origen around the level 6 mark. Haven't really seen them totally utilize their advantage or their ability advantage at the level 6, but now we do see Ignite getting in towards this side of the jungle. Memento here as well with the hookshot, doesn't land it, but there is the Hexagon Domain. Ignite coming down as well, and Nuke with the cleanse flash away. Engage in the bottom lanes, upset, jumped on by Mythy, stunned up, easy enough kill for Patrick, he rends him down. It's all off the back of Nuke making a great play in the mid lane and surviving.
And that is the punishment from Schalke of sending Ignite away from Upset. Ignite goes for that dive in the mid lane, is unsuccessful, but it leaves Upset extremely vulnerable by himself in that bot lane, and he's not able to keep himself safe, and Origen punish him for it.
Abadage now on the wrong side of the rift, caught in this blue side jungle. Nuke on his way across as well. The Glacial Path will get Abadage underneath the towers, maybe looking for the execute here. Not sure if he's taken any damage yet. Takes 3 tower shots, but Nuke still on the chase. Does have to be a little bit cautious. Abadage pops the blast cone.
Was that his only way out?
Yeah, that's not how you get out of that. Last bird comes out. Brodomel still just running away, but eventually Nuke gets the kill. And Origen, 12 minutes in, 2-0 up, and with a 1,000 gold lead as well.
Most importantly, the 2 kills here are on the mid laner and the AD carry. So let's watch this again in the bot side of the map. Upset is by himself, playing really far forward, getting greedy for that CS. But the catch potential here from Origen
disgusting.
with that Kalista ulti plus Alistair combo, I mean, it's an Ez, right? He stands really far away to last hit with Q. He's got his jump, he had his flash, and he still can't survive. Like, yeah, I mean, that is a pretty sick combo coming through from Origen, and they're rewarded with a kill onto their Kalista. Very important one.
And then Abadage, I think, just went too far after going for that mid lane dive and was caught out. Good flank from Mythy, because he came up from the bottom lane to actually catch the Schalke mid laner out of position. Memento looking to steal away this red, we'll get it. That's a little bit of an advantage for him, but nothing too miraculous. And now that Origen have sort of stepped on the gas a little bit, I want to see them keep doing it.
Yeah, they've got to
keep making the same play.
They have to keep going, and right now lane phase doesn't look like it's going to end particularly anytime soon. Sometimes you see teams go for a lane swap in the top side just to surprise, go for a gank, and then maybe go for that first blood tower. But that usually only happens if you think you're in a good position to get the plates, or, like I mentioned, actually kill the tower itself. So right now we probably won't be seeing much of that. But having said that, Ignar is roaming to the mid lane. Upset as well is also leaving bot as well. So has he learned his lesson, or is he going for a cheeky little roam?
There's still no summoners on Nuke, right? So you can look for that gank in the mid lane, especially since Abadage has the ult and has the flash. But you look at the vision control still for Origen around this mid lane, totally covered. Like, control ward here, ward across the wall, go down to the woods, the bottom side as well. Control ward here, ward across the wall. Like, they know that Nuke could be targeted out, and actually the fight is happening on the top side of the map. Cold misses the Glacial Prism.
Yeah, and that's a big one to lose in the early stages of the game right here. That is a high impact ultimate you definitely don't want to waste. Ignite here is sniffing about. And
Danger pings.
yeah, he's suspicious.
Oh, Alfari can get this. Yeah, Slicing Maelstrom just comes out. Odomome stunned up for a year. Flashes away. Alfari doesn't have the chase potential because Memento, as you say, was on his way up. Alfari not wanting to chase into that fog of war. But I do actually like bringing the Kalista up here. If you can, alongside the Yasuo, so they move Kalista to mid, because you can secure the Rift out. Mythy jumps in. Very brave move from him, but the Alistair does do a lot of damage. Not going down. Mythy secures it. Support all combat. Abadage actually locked up as well. Just gets away with the Glacial Path, and this is good from Origen. They keep upping the tempo. They move their AD carry down towards this middle lane, and Upset Ignite actually might have enough damage to take the first tower of the game if we don't see a bit more proactivity from Origen.
But Herald will most likely go down as well here for Origen, so at the very least they will most likely trade towers at this point, and Origen are happy with doing this. You know, they got that kill. The downside to this is that Mythy used both summoners and it was a pure solo kill. No assist for anyone else on the squad. And with Cole picking up this Herald here, we're going to get a cheeky little reset, and then we'll see as a team, do they group up and use this Herald somewhere? Or are they just going to go and perhaps, similar to what happened last time, stick someone in that mid lane and go for a multiple lane threat?
Here you see Alpha going for the flash slicing mouse play. Thought he could take Origen down quickly enough, but you can't go into Fog of War if you don't have the vision. And Mythy's like, okay, I've got you, Alpha.
Headbutts
I'll do it
minion here. Nope, just flashes in.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he'd headbutt and then Q flash.
That is a cool combo.
But nah.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. Oh, Abidaga actually took a bit of damage as he teleported away, but not so much that it cost him his life.
That was extremely close with him being able to reactivate that glacial path. He almost just got comboed down there and locked down, and he would have died too. We did see the mid lane fall here. Origen able to break that one, take that one down and break open the map. So mid lane is always the most important tower you want to take down because it is obviously in the center of the map. Oh, there's a Herald.
Momento's going to go for it. Oh, he channel, he gets it. I believe with the Hexagon made him, he stops it because it silences you for a second. Memento gets into the realm warp. Are they going to lock him up in time? They get the stun off. That's one. Maybe they even go for the dive because Glacial Prison hits. And Origen not long for the rift. Double kill across towards Nukeduck.
And that is the power of the Yasuo pick, and Nukeduck especially is a very good Yasuo player, but you have the strength in that 2v2. This is the versatility as well of the Sejuani, not just about their protections and the engages, but also very good at just doing standard jungle stuff, like fighting enemy teams. So really strong 2v2, gets 2 kills. You know what, I think that also lightens it up a little bit as far as Origen, the sadness that Origen feeling about losing the Herald.
Yeah.
Getting 2 kills,
you're going to get the tower anyway. Right? Like
exactly. I think that makes it a little bit easier.
And it's always about Cole playing around the vision there, right? He's on a control ward as he comes in. Yes, he puts the Rift Tower down and Memento spots him, but then the ability to react, the ability to get there quickly and get the kill is just absolutely paramount for Origen.
So that's this is a really interesting interaction. I don't know whether we're going to get a replay and see this at all, but what happened with the Rift Herald? Because I didn't know. They missed the E, right? Memento missed his hook shot, which is the CC. You need hard CC to break the Herald.
So Hextech Ultimatum,
does it silence you?
As far as I know, when it's cast, silences you for a split second.
That's
which
crazy.
Is why it cancels the Rift Tower.
Interesting. I mean, if that is the case, then yeah, that explains it. If not, then Cole just cancelled it by himself.
I mean, if you keep talking for a second,
I can
make sure that's
I'm good at talking rubbish, mate. That's what I'm here for, so I can definitely fill some time. Either way, if this Herald gets put down or doesn't get put down, Origen are most likely going to get this tower here. They win the 2v2, and they get 2 kills over to Nukeduck as well. So something that goes a little bit understated when you look at the scoreboard is how many kills does this team have, how many kills does that team has. You can see a number, it might be bigger than the other one, but most importantly is who has the kills, where do those kills go over to? And as far as Origen is concerned right now, those kills are on the perfect targets. We saw Patrick get a kill earlier on into the game, we saw Nukeduck get one earlier, and now he's just got even more. So they're set up to be in a really, really good position here, especially when they're running it into Schalke's team comp of that Rise split push. If you want to have Nukeduck beat him, then having him have 3 kills, you know what, I think that's pretty decent.
It definitely works out pretty well for you. And now, of course, I explored my mind palace, my knowledge dungeon that I have in my head.
Yes.
And it cancels channels. Cancels channels. And
really?
Rift Herald is a channeled ability.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So Memento.
Channeling.
Notice this here. You can see the channeling. Doesn't hit the E. And then it's like, oh, I'm a little bit short. Hextech Ultimatum cancels the channel.
It says silence for a split second above Cole's nameplate there. So yeah, that's what happens. Mystery solved. Need Detective Medius here for that one.
We call him Plagueis at the moment because he's still sick. But so right there, it looks like the stun lands just before the Realm Warp comes out, which is why we don't see the follow-up. But we will just make sure that everything was A-OK with those interactions before we get on further in the game. I want to talk a little bit about some of the expectations we set up for these teams in picks and bans. Because we talked about Origen, we said they're a level 6 comp, or they're an ultimate-based comp, and they played well around that. You know, we're seeing them 5 kills up at the moment, about 1,000 gold lead. But where do they go next? What's the next invention, next step for that?
Well, I think if you'd asked me that question like 30 seconds ago, game time, then it would have been a different answer to what I'm going to say now, which is Nukeduck now has become a huge win condition for your team. Because you can just sit him in the side lane, and who is going to match him, who is going to beat him at this point? Lysandra is much more of a team player as the game goes on. Very strong champion, which is why she's such high priority in drafts very often. But she's not going to be able to 1v1 Nukeduck. Nukeduck is going to have permanent pressure against her. And Ryze is much more of the silo champion that you want to stick in that side lane, that you want to have match the split push, that you want to have like just pushing minion waves down and going up against strong enemy split pushes. But again, if Rise is sitting at 0-1-0 and Nuke is here sitting at 3-0, let's not forget, last thing, then you can talk, mate.
Okay.
He can itemize very efficiently into a Hex Drinker if he fancies it. Or like Merch Treads or whatever he wants to do. I mean, he's already got his Zachary, so ignore that one. But if you have AP mid and AP top, then that's good enough justification.
And it gets the Ezreal as well. Like, Ezreal does magic damage as well. So it works across the board. Currently sitting at the Phantom Dancer and a pickaxe. Expect him to go back and get BF still towards that Infinity Edge. I just want to inform you guys about the pause. The referees were investigating a issue related to the Realm Warp. They've determined it's normal behavior, and we should be getting back on into the game in just a second. So hopefully we'll be jumping back on into the action. Okay, so we talked about Origen. We talked about the fact they can split push now with Nuke Duck. Great stuff. Good stuff, Origen. Schalke, on the other hand, usually a much stronger early game team than this, have seemed to struggle a little bit at shutting down Origen's plays. Where do they go next?
Well, even when Schalke were winning games, I think on average their goal difference of 15 is not even 1,000. It's not that high. It's not that significant. They're very good at like 20 minutes plus, and that's where they win their games. They set themselves up in that early game. They don't explode and they don't take over the game in the early, but they're still they set themselves up to have success later on.
Okay.
So at this point, Schalke is not used to being 2,000 goal behind, but you can't write them out just because firstly the caliber of the team, it's a very good team, and secondly their picks are good as the game goes on. So upset on this Ezreal, we look to him to be the one to kind of put the team on his back in this game, and for Schalke to play around that.
And we'll keep our eyes on Upset's Ezreal, wearing the footballer skin, which I think is only an apt considering he plays for Schalke 04.
Actually, it does look very Schalke, doesn't it?
This is the Schalke skin, okay?
Yeah.
They may never win Worlds, but Upset's like, I've got my own skin already, guys.
You're setting their expectations very...
I said May. I said May. Give me some credit here. G2 may never win Worlds, but we all know they're winning this year. It's in Europe. Paris for the finals. G2 taking it home. Or Schalke, obviously. G2 Schalke finals.
What a story Fnatic won it, though.
That would be an incredible story. That would be an incredible story. Okay, so we know that Schalke needs to scale just a little bit more. We're sitting at Seraph's, building up on Odoamne. Protobelt into looks to be a Zhonya's for Abadage. 2 items on the Ezreal, which is always good. But soon you'll start to see Patrick get towards that Ginsu. Soon you'll see an Infinity Edge from Nuke Duck as well. And if Origen can just keep up the tempo, keep up the pace, maybe look for a play around the Ocean Dragon or around the Baron in a couple of minutes, you have to think they're in a very good position to succeed.
And this is the thing, is that for Origen, they're going to look to pick up all of these objectives, especially those dragons. And if Schalke wants to contest, obviously they then have to walk up to Origen.
Catch is cold, but maybe not how we wanted to catch him. Odoamne almost killed by Nuke Duck. Nuke Duck flashes forward for Ignite now underneath the tower, but Mythy can just tank that one up for days. It's a very dead Pike. Origen 7 kills to 0 up. Absolutely decimating Schalke 04.
We mentioned it, Nuke Duck at this point is just too strong. Odoamne is not able to go at 1v1, not able to go toe-to-toe, and Nuke Duck actually basically picked up a solo kill there. In fact, it was better than a solo kill because Ignite tried to stop him, and he couldn't.
Yeah.
Origen swarming their way in as well on the back of that to pick up that second kill, and it's just like, this is now really hard. If you're Schalke, this is actually really tough because these fights aren't really meant to happen yet. They're meant to happen around like the Baron area or the Dragons or whatever you want to contest. And Origen's meant to be able to find the windows and just get like a good team fight engage with the Kalista ulti or the Kennen TP flank or something like that. Honestly, this is what Origen wants to happen, but Schalke are just opening the door and saying, oh yeah, please come in. Oh, you got dirty boots. So that doesn't matter. Keep your shoes on.
Tread the mud through the carpet.
That's fine. It's not happening for him.
No. No, they're struggling a lot, and I think a lot of that has to come off, you know, those couple of bad plays up towards the top lane. Very good ganks, of course, from Origen, but what we've seen from Origen here is the combination of Cold and Nuke Duck can be absolutely devastating, right? Yeah. This is what we expected from them at the start of the split, and they're starting to step into their own. You have to remember, like, coming in today, everyone's putting Schalke up there just beneath G2. For Origen to come out with such a clean performance so far, that is a very good sign for them as a team and as an organization.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Origen looking to get into playoffs, we can use the P word in week 4.
You can use the P word.
Then, I mean, this isn't even a team that you necessarily need to beat. Yeah. You don't have to beat one of the top 2 teams in the league.
You just beat the teams below you.
Yeah, exactly. Beat the teams below you and the people who might be looking to squeeze into those playoff spots. But so if they can pick up a team winning against Schalke, I mean, for me, that just completely kind of throws up in the air just how good are Origen, because individually we know they're very talented players, just the names themselves like speak volumes. They haven't been able to find it so far in the LEC, and you know, this could be that turnaround point for them.
It definitely could. So 20 minutes in, 4,000 gold lead for Origen. It actually looks like it's QSS second for Patrick here, so just trying to give himself a little bit more safety. Nuke, of course, the key carry for that Origen lineup, but Schalke have been able to slow down the game just a tad. Obviously, very hard to break into that tier 2 of turrets, so Origen will need to set up strong vision, push forward a little bit, reset, then set up the vision again before they can really make any more plays.
Yeah, and Naren Basho, Big Purple Worm over here, is obviously going to be the key ticket for Origen to be able to break into the base of Schalke.
There's a blast cone there. Malphari trying to get away. The flash in, Hexagon made him. Malphari caught out. Doesn't have a stopwatch, has the Rylai's with the slow, but Malphari is done. Dunked by Ignar. Schalke find a pick.
There's a very late flash there by Alfari, who didn't respect the memento, kind of chain CC there, where he comes flying in from 1,000 miles away, and then hookshot, flash, ultimate, and you're locked down and you're screwed. So Alfari needs to flash a little bit early there, but still good pick from Schalke. That is the power of that Camille pick especially. And we'll see, like this, honestly right now all that does is just kind of pauses what Origen wanted to do. Schalke's need a lot more to find success in this game. But you know, if you want to take the game to late because you're really not doing very well right now, then those are the kind of plays you need to look for.
It's like battlefield medicine. All you want to do is pause the bleeding until you can get back somewhere safe. And as soon as you're back somewhere safe, that's when you can look to try and revitalize the patient and bring them back.
Well, there you go. Was that your expertise?
No, I was orthopedics and pediatrics, so bones and children. Yeah, it was good fun actually. The things you can do to children's bones are actually incredible. Like you can make children taller by breaking their bones and just splitting them apart, and then they just grow. It's amazing.
Well, okay, well you're not a doctor anymore, and I'm starting to see why every day. Let's go back to the...
That's actual medicine, okay?
The way you put it did not sound very...
That's actual medicine.
Whatever, let's move on, shall we?
Okay.
League of Legends, video game, that's what we're casting right now, I think at least.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, right, I think this is a bit of a lull in the game, because... What's the best word to describe this? Boring is completely not the right word for it, okay? But it's the more behind the scenes kind of like methodical
this is the preparation.
setting up. Yeah,
it's the preparation portion of the game.
Yeah, exactly. This is the preparation for Origen where they're thinking, okay, let's get the side waves in a good position. Let's see if, firstly, let's see if Schalke like give us anything if they make a mistake, because that would be great. It wouldn't be the first time this game that Schalke had done that. So let's get the side waves in a good position here. Let's leverage this advantage that we've gotten over the enemy team. And the fact that we are such a good teamfight comp as well, if we do find someone, you know, we get that Mythi engage, we get that follow-up from Alfari, although he's in topside without his TP. But in theory, you know...
Oh, I love this. Cold actually baiting for Ignar there. They knew there was a ward in the bush, and they just didn't clear it out to make Schalke think they were safe. Cold steps up, Ignar lands the hook, gets away. But I really like the idea from Origen.
But again, Pyke is an extremely slippery champion. If Ignar was playing his Blitzcrank here, then that would have been a very easy kill. But Cold probably should have thrown out his ultimate there just to lock down the Pyke, but either way, just going to walk away from that one, and Alfari chasing down Abadaga. The rest of his team is on the way, and we'll see whether or not... There it is!
Turns it straight on towards Ignar with the Glacial Prison. That's a dead Pyke. Memento chased away as well, and now Origen probably just going to turn their eyes towards the blue buff, set up vision around the Baron as well.
And now this is extremely difficult, because let's not forget that even though your support is arguably your weakest member as far as individual strength goes, he is your primary warder. So how do you get vision in this situation when your ward bot is dead? It's very difficult to do so.
Two teleports coming in from Schalke. Memento jumps towards the back of the pit, but the slicing maelstrom locks him up. Baron already down, secured. Memento falls as well. Abadaga goes into the Glacial Tomb, and we'll get locked up. Cole just going to chase him across the wall here, looking for that blast cone knock away. Patrick can't quite find the jump, and Abadaga will escape. They don't really care about him. They have the Baron. That's all they need. They'll let the Lissandra escape for the time being.
And this is exactly it. Origen, if they're looking to accelerate this game right here and end it before Schalke comes online, then they need to take this Baron and they need to use this to break into the enemy base. That's what they've got. Let's see if we can do it. We're jumping into the replay here of how this pick happened in the first place. It's almost a rinse and repeat of what Origen were trying to do in the bot side of the map. But this time around, Cold actually uses his ultimate as the primary engage here. And whereas Pyke is a very slippery champion, if he can't proc his aftershock because he's stunned down and he can't use his abilities, then he's very easy to kill. And the rest of this, just Schalke thinking, you know what? We don't want to give away this Baron.
Yeah.
It's bad if the enemy team gets Baron. That was
really bad.
That was the correct thought. But what actually happened was not the correct execution.
Trying to go into a bang when you don't have vision, because Origen have taken it away pretty well.
Rock and a hard place.
Yeah, definitely a very difficult situation to be in, and Origen have forced Schalke back time and time again. Look at how strong they are at the moment. 3 items on the Yasuo. You've got a 2-0-2 Sejuani with the Gargoyles. You've got Ginsu's finished on Kalista as well. Origen are putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, Origen are just looking night and day, really, from the criticisms we had of them earlier on into the split. And this is a team, you know, that maybe takes a little bit while to gel. We can't all be the shout. Well, probably can't say that anymore, can I? But you can't all be teams that implode the roster and then come together anew and just instantly click. And what I'm really impressed by this game especially is Cold was able to set up Nuke Duck, and Nuke Duck has just proven why we kind of killed the whole year of the Duck meme last year. Because he is a very good player, you know, when he's on form, he's a top 3 mid in EU.
Yep.
And Origen have picked up this guy, hasn't quite been able to step back to grow into his own skin yet. And in this game, he's on a high agency pick and he's making it happen.
Definitely is. I think Alfari has to be mentioned as well. We talked about the top lane matchup. It hasn't really played out Alfari into Odo. It's more been Odo into Nuke Duck this game, but still had a much more consistent performance than he had in weeks 1 through 3. Looking much more like the Alfari we know of old. Now, Inhibitor Tower target in the mid lane. Glacial Prison lands once again onto Ignar, just forcing him away. Mithy underneath the tower, but already that's fallen. Puts at the wind wall just to block out any Schalke aggression. Mithy with the engage. Last breath comes out and Memento is down. Great stuff from Origen once again to find the pick, and now they can just push towards this Inhibitor. Need to be a little bit defensive because you still have the Frozen Tomb. You still have the pick potential of a death from below. Nuke Duck clearing out the wards now, clearing out the minions in this bottom lane. Patrick going in, there's the face call. Just pushes Schalke back once again, and Origen will open up that second Inhibitor Tower alongside the Inhibitor.
This is extremely smart play by Origen. They're not overforcing their hand here. They're throwing out ultimates using cooldowns, but not dedicating where they don't need to, just to zone away Schalke so that they can take what they want, which isn't Schalke's life bars, it's the inhibitors in the base, and they're able to achieve that. Patrick, oh no, he's
What is it with blast cones in the LEC? Like, what is it? We saw it yesterday with Noscare knocking Chachi into the pit. We saw it last week with Kobe getting killed by one.
G2XL, remember that one?
G2XL. Oh, there's something about the blast cone.
Just very spicy cones.
It's fine though. Patrick survives. Doesn't put him too out of position, and Origen reset. 4 dragons in their back pockets. A monumental 7,500 gold lead as well.
And what this does as well by picking up 4 dragons is it gives you another win condition if the game does go later on, which is where we said before, where Schalke would want the game to go. Now you can just pick up El Dragon, and you've got 4 dragons already. And it's just like, yeah, this is really tough now for Schalke. And I think going into this game, the expectations were that Schalke would just pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, that we would see Deficio cry in backstage and Quickshot would be happy.
Well, but Deficio will be the only one laughing after this, because every single caster and analyst and Twitter and StatSpot predicted that Schalke would win.
Whoa.
It's the curse of the StatSpot.
What do we know?
No, not much. I'm sitting at 22 predictions, so I really don't know that much. Realm coming in here. Trying to catch Nuke Duck out. Oh! Memento with the flash chase. Has the Hexagon made him. Put Nuke Duck in the box. Ignar there as well, but Armset has to jump across the wall to follow up. Nuke Duck almost takes down one, but the death from below will secure him. However, what have you lost for it? Inhibitor Tower's going to go down in this top lane as Schalke retreat. Teleport's coming in. Armset trying to join the fight. There is the Inhibitor, but they're not going to go for it completely. Glacial Prism lands just to distract Abaddage, so he cannot jump on towards that Origen backline.
Origen need to back away from this one. They have lost Nuke Duck, who is their primary carry so far. Schalke, if they want to take this one, it's 4v5.
It's the perfect time to fight. Mithy didn't really want to back away. He was running back in, as you said, they wanted to retreat. Ignar misses the hook. Mithy gets to jump onto Odo 1. Make hold there as well. Alfari still has the ultimate if he wants to go in. Looking for it. There's the lightning rush. Hasn't used the ult yet, though. Abaddage pops the Frozen 2. Mithy gets 1. That's Odo 1 nade down. Now Alfari jumps forward with the proto belt. And Memento falls as well. And Upset's trying to do what he can on the back line, but he's getting locked up in the slicing maelstrom. Ignar jumps back towards the fountain. Inhibitor falls, and Origen are knocking on the door of Schalke's face.
This was the best chance for Schalke to turn this game around and win a team fight, and instead they come out losers of the fight and maybe, quite possibly, definitely, the game.
What a performance from Origen, puts Schalke right back in their place, and they seem to have found their form. Week 4 of the LEC, Origen pick up their 4th win.
Not only did they win this game, but the fashion in which they did so gives you a lot of hope moving forward as an Origen fan. Schalke are no easy opponent. And really, it's what we were expecting out of Origen coming into the season, before anyone had played on stage, when you just look at the names on the rosters and you think, yeah, these guys are good players. They had good performances last year. This is a team that can perform.
I think this performance was the performance, as you say, that everyone expected the team to have. Like, coming into the split, you looked at the roster, you said Nuke Duck, Cole, Mithy, Patrick, and Alfari in the top lane. And you thought, yeah, they're going to perform. You know, they're going to be a strong team from the get-go. And now we're actually starting to see it really come into effect.
Origen in this game as well. What I'm really impressed with Mithy is I just want to give him a cheeky shout out as well, because, you know, we touched, you said this as well with Mickey, where supports kind of go a bit underloved.
Yeah.
So if I can give a little bit of love to Mithy's, he has a tendency of going in. Yeah, and no one really follows him. It doesn't matter whether he's got his team around him to support him up. He'll just go in anyway. He sees the opportunity, and maybe that's a lack of communication, and maybe his team doesn't have full confidence in him. It was a problem that plagued him when he was over in North America. But there are a lot of engages this game. Mithy didn't seem to change as much himself, but it's like, as a team, when Mithy makes these plays, his team was there to follow up.
The coordination was there.
Absolutely.
So much better from the Mithy didn't even die, nor did Patrick. Nuke Duck only with that final death at the end.
Yeah, and Alfari was, throughout most of the game, was a dirty inner on their team.
Yeah.
I know, I'm reporting.
The whole one death
Yeah.
that he had. I want to obviously look at the other side of the coin. Schalke really only picked up 2 kills. Both went over to the Pike. Seemed to just struggle to stop Origen having their game plan. We talked about the Camille as sort of a bridging factor for them towards scaling, but never had the effect that we would have wanted it to.
Yeah, it was... The very early game was fine for Schalke, and then I think as soon as Nutuk picked up those 2 kills in the bot side of the map, when we had that pause, that was really where it became very hard. Like, Schalke